Welcome to the Session 5 workshop. Today we'll be working on minor chords and we'll learn how they relate to major chords and the notes of the C major scale. Let's get started by making the three major chords we've learned into minor chords. We'll start with a C major triad with its bottom note on middle C. And remember, our nugget from this session was this: any root position major triad becomes a minor one when the middle note, which is the third, is lowered by half a step. So in this case, the middle note is E, and we'll take that E down a half a step to the black note just below it, which we haven't named yet, but we will later. And then we'll have a C minor triad. Now we can do the same thing with our F major triad. We'll take that middle note, which is the third, the A, and lower it to the half a step just below it, to the black note, and then we have an F minor triad. If we go up one whole step to a G major triad, we can do the same thing. We'll take the middle note, which is B, down a half a step to the black note, and then we have a G minor triad. So once again, the C major triad becomes a C minor triad, F major triad becomes F minor triad, and G major triad becomes G minor triad. Now let's learn three minor chords, A minor, D minor, and E minor, that are all white notes and have the same shape. We'll start with A minor, which is A, C, in this case middle C, and E. That's an A minor triad. If we take that same shape and go up to where our bottom note is a D, we'll have a D minor triad. If we go up one whole step to the white notes just above it, we have an E minor triad. So now we've got three new triads. A minor, the same shape becomes D minor, with D as its bottom note, and then E minor just above it, with E as its bottom note. So let's try playing those chords A minor and D minor and E minor in some different ranges, and try them with the bass note. Down here an octave and two steps below middle C. We'll go up an octave above the A minor, and then up another octave. And you can hear how the colors change in the different octaves. Much of the time when we're playing songs, we'll be playing chords in the meaty range, the mid-range of the piano. But it's nice to experiment in the other ranges also. Let's try D minor with the bass note about an octave below middle C. We'll try that up an octave, and then up another octave, and then back down, and then back to where we started. Now let's learn two minor chord progressions using the 6 minor chords we just learned. The first one we'll call our A minor progression, and it has A minor, D minor, A minor, and E minor in it. This is what the chart looks like on the screen. We'll play that progression twice with one chord per bar, and then we'll resolve it back to A minor. We're going to do this with the metronome on 70 beats a minute. And I'll count us in, and we'll play one chord per bar, just with the right hand for starters. 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor, and then D minor, back to A minor, and then E minor. A minor again, D minor, back to A minor, E minor, and then we resolve to A minor. Now let's try a progression using C minor, F minor, and G minor, which we'll call our C minor progression. This one has 2 bars of C minor, then a bar of F minor, then a bar of G minor. Those 4 bars repeat, and then we resolve back to C minor. We'll use the same metronome setting, 70 beats per minute. And I'll count us in and we'll play it. just with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then C minor again. And then F minor. And then G minor. Back to C minor. C minor again. F minor. And then G minor. And then we resolve back to C minor. We'll just play those with the right hand for now. We'll get into adding left hand to our minor chords later in this workshop. Now let's practice the triads of the C major scale. And here's a key idea about those triads. Each note of a major scale can be used to generate a triad using the notes of that scale. Also, in any key, the major scale generates 7 different triads. And those triads of the major scale can be represented by a number 1 through 7. The first triad is C major, and the scale we're using is a C major scale. So if we take each chord up to the next white note, and we're fingering this 1, 3, 5, we get a different triad every time we move that position. So this time let's name those triads. First is C major, then D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B, what we call B diminuted, C major, back to B diminuted, A minor, G major, F major, E minor, D minor, and then back to C major. Now let's try playing those triads up and down with a pulse. We'll put our metronome back on 70 beats a minute, and we'll play each chord for 2 beats. I'll count us in, and we'll start on that C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminuted, C major again, B diminuted, A minor, G major, F major, E minor, D minor, and back to C major. This time let's try saying the numbers of the chords 1 through 7 and naming them as we play them up and down with no pulse. So we start on the 1 chord, which is C major. Then we have the 2 chord, which is D minor. The 3 chord, which is E minor. The 4 chord, which is F major. The 5 chord, which is G major. The 6 chord, which is A minor. The 7 chord, which is B diminuted. And then we're back to C major. And then coming back down, we have 7, 6, which is A minor, 5, which is G major, 4, which is F major, 3, which is E minor, 2, which is D minor, and 1, which is C major. Now we're going to use the C major scale again, and we're going to do a 5-finger exercise from each one of its notes. So the pattern will sound like this. Remember, our 5-finger exercise from an earlier session was this. In that hand position. This time we're going to do that and then go to the next note of the scale, which is D, and play the same pattern and then go up. And each time we come back to the bottom of the pattern, we'll have 2 beats. 1, 2 on the bottom note. So that's the pattern we're going to play on this exercise. Now let's try it with a pulse. We'll set the metronome to 60 and play each one of these patterns all the way up and down. I'll count us in and we'll play it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 2. 1, 2. And notice you're shifting your hand slightly when you put it in the new position. And then we're back where we started, only an octave higher. And try to pick up your fingers a little bit. And we're keeping our hand relaxed. And then we're back where we started. Now let's try this at 72 beats a minute with a little bit more tempo. But keep your hand relaxed. And remember to shift your hand slightly when you go into the new position. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Picking up the fingers a little bit. And then back down. We're back where we started. Now we're going to get some practice hearing chord movement. And remember our nugget from this session, which was this. You can figure out chord progressions by establishing the key, which is the tonal center of the song, listening to the chords, and humming the movement of the bass. Here's 4 chord progressions to give you some practice hearing chord movement. We'll be using C, F, and G on the first 2, and C, A minor, F, and G on the second 2. I'll play the progression first, and then I'll hum the bass note, and then see if you can hum the bass note. We won't worry about a pulse right now because we're just trying to hear the movement of the bass. The first progression sounds like this. So now I'll hum the bass notes. Now you try humming the bass notes. Now we'll do it together. On this progression, we'll be using the same 3 chords, but in a slightly different order. So it sounds like this. Now I'll hum the bass note. Now you hum the bass note. Now we'll do it together. This time we'll use those 3 chords and we'll have an A minor in there also. So the progression sounds like this. Now you hum it. And we'll do it together. Now the same 4 chords, only in a different order. Now you hum the bass notes. Now let's practice our first minor chord progression. First we'll look at the right hand part, which is just this A minor chord 6 times in a row, and then it changes slightly. And then the same thing. And it changes slightly for 2 beats again and resolves back to the A minor chord. And the 2 bass notes are an A and then an F on the second bar. So the whole thing sounds like this. We'll set our metronomes to 60. Get our hands relaxed and play this progression twice and resolve it back to the original chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then change. Now let's try that same progression, breaking it up in 8th notes as we did before when it was our first major chord progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the chords we're going to be using, and check out the chart on the screen as I play through the chords. First chord is A minor for a bar, and then D minor, and then back to A minor for 2 bars. Then we go up to D minor for 2 bars, and then E minor for 2 bars. Then we're back to A minor, and then D minor, and then back to A minor for 2 more bars. And then we have a bar with 2 chords in it, C and A minor, and then another bar with 2 chords in it, D minor and E minor, and then we're back to A minor for 2 more bars. So let's try the right hand with the pulse on 90 beats a minute, following the chord chart through the tune. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then D minor, A minor again, to D minor, and then to E minor, A minor, D minor, back to A minor. And then we've got C and A minor, D minor and E minor, and then A minor. Let's check out those 2 bars that have 2 chords in them, because we have to move the chords faster in those. The first one goes C to A minor, and then D minor to E minor in the next bar. So in time, those 2 bars will go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try adding the left hand to the right hand as we play through the tune. The left hand notes will be A, D, E, and C. And we can use one hand position to cover all those notes. So with the metronome back on, we'll play through the tune, this time adding the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we've got D minor, and then E minor. And we're back down to A minor, to D minor, back down to A minor. C and A minor, D minor and E minor, and then back down to A minor. On the play along CD, you'll be able to play this tune along with a great band and with someone playing the melody along with you. As a workshop bonus, let's incorporate a little more rhythm into those chords. And the rhythm we're going to be using goes like this. Now you try it. We're playing an A minor chord. Now I'll turn the metronome back on and we'll play through the chords in this way in the right hand. The left hand will just rest for now, and then we'll incorporate that afterwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the D minor. Then the E minor. Back down to A minor, up to D minor, and back down to A minor. And then C and A minor. And we'll just play those on the beat. And then back to the rhythm. This time, try adding the left hand if you can. And if you have to slow the tempo down, do so, because you'll be playing two different rhythms between the hands. But I'll play both the left hand and the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these on the beat. And then back to the rhythm. So that does it for the material in this session. And you're ready to move on when you can make C, F, and G major into minor chords, when you can form A minor, D minor, and E minor triads, when you can play and number the triads of the C major scale up and down, and when you can play the chords to Summertime with the chord chart, just with the basic whole note rhythm. So keep practicing those minor chords, and I'll see you in the next session.